It's not bad.
If you're gonna be my friend,
Like it did in the old days, it wasn't so long ago. And I wish you well. Hit it again. Sign your pen. I'd call that strong.
I think that was really strong.
Yep.
Andrew
Young
didn't
blood.
sing anything.
Didn't go for
and
it at all.
Started sweating.
Future or
immediately.
past guest.
He started sweating. He started sweating right out of the
Well,
gate.
it tasted sweet, but it was sweat.
Yeah,
the only
it
thing
was
I'm
sweat.
sweating from is looking to my right and my left and seeing some titans who have microphone stands, but I've just been given. I chose to be a child and two-handed.
You are below us in the middle.
I'm below.
I was
no
gonna say we
stand,
wanted to-
two-handing it from the bottom.
Now we're two-handing it from the bottom. Now we're here.
Exactly.
Look, I don't want to get into budget.
We only had the two stands.
The way we spin it is we want you to have the freedom to dance.
That's
Yeah.
right. I'm swiveling.
Yes.
And also, you have to look that way,
Yeah,
look this
this
way.
way. Yep. We're
It's
good.
a lot of
We're
work.
good.
I
that
could
we
go just
ask.
right down the middle.
You could just do
just
that the
to
whole
cam
time.
but I'm talking to you guys as though
I hate that
this
I'm
is
about to do this.
Oh, I have something I'm going to throw out there. Oh, you have to do an ad for LaCroix. Go ahead. Hi.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
here for LaCroix.
Hi, I'm Bob LaCroix.
Crocs.
I was going to bring up the thing you were...
Southwest.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. I don't want to do this.
Airline
But actually...
rewards programs.
I bet I could get with you more than you think.
Here's what and I don't think you're going to be against this, but I got to say, I fly Delta. I fly out of,
Right.
Terminal 2, 3, whatever, at LAX all the time.
Yep.
I would fly out of Burbank more, but there's often multiple stops, and it's also more expensive.
Yep.
So I'll go
Love some
LAX.
Burbank though.
Yep.
I'll die for Burbank.
You love...
recent-
Oh, we all love it.
I love it.
I mean,
I love it. It's very convenient. I recently flew to Austin, Texas, and I had to fly Southwest for timing's sake.
Sure.
There just wasn't an option. So I was like, oh,
For
LAX.
theme.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, I want to be
content.
thematic. I was like, I'm going to fly Southwest, and I'll fly Delta back. Anyways, I get to Terminal 1 with TSA pre-check and clear. First off, no one is even working clear. No one even there.
Even...
They
Yeah,
don't.
there's no one even
started
there.
on...
There's no one
I
even
didn't
there.
renew it this year. I didn't renew it this year because I'm just like I'm.
Oh, I'll
done-
keep
I'm done
renewing
being
it,
accosted.
but I've taken it to be the thing under your sink you use once every 2 years.
yes.
And when it's there, you go, I do have masking tape.
Well, here's why.
That is,
yeah, exactly.
that's, I just treat
just
clear
so,
like that
just
now.
so we're all very clear, I want to make it clear. I want to make it clear about Clear. Clear is $180 a year, I think.
Right.
I have it because I just did the tour last year and gained massive amounts of miles, which put me at Diamond with Delta. This has only
you
happened
go.
twice in my life. The first time it happened was 5-6 years ago, and I was gifted a free annual thing with Clear because of it.
Yeah.
And I signed up because I was late for a flight in Denver, and so I signed up for Clear.
That's a
and I
Clear
made the
place.
flight because I signed up and did it.
Yep.
Anyways, I got Diamond again. It said you have Clear for a year if you want it. And I was like, I'm not using that. I'm tired of all the photos and the eyes.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
stuff. And then I was like, oh wait, they already
We've
have
a private
that.
company has saved your eyes.
I was like, oh, I've already given them this anyways
Yes.
because I did it before. So what do I care? They
This is
already
how I
have-
always feel from being a federal agent.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's
they
right.
have it all.
I was like, they already have
And I
what they
always have
need
a
on
gun.
me anyways. Yeah. So I was like, oh, it won't matter. So I ended up getting it. Anyways, they don't even have it there. I mean, they have it, but no one's working it. The TSA thing, it was like mayhem at security.
Terminal 1.
And then Terminal 1, I was like, this feels like a broken place.
And it's brand new. And
it's brand new.
It's
And
a
I gotta
free-for-all.
say,
Southwest free-for-all.
what's going on at Delta Terminal 3 genuinely makes Terminal 1 look like Terminal 3 is 10 years in the future.
Well, you're also Diamond Platinum. Remember, I'm back last group, sir, and you can wait, and I'm like,
yeah.
okay, God.
Actually, help her with her bags, then come back off the plane until we let you board.
Yeah.
You are now a helper.
Yeah.
We'll do active service, and we'll do people who are just considering
Yeah.
service.
You're so in the last group, you're going to be seating people in front of you as you're going to be coming back. You're a host.
We want to watch you do active service.
Okay, any more
before we-
diamonds? They keep going down. Coal. You, not you, our coal members.
Bismuth members.
Cool.
Yes. There's people with lisps.
Yeah.
And don't fake it. We'll
Anyone
test
here
you.
left-handed? people are being honest.
Okay,
I think
now
I'm
look.
boarding next. No, it's just people who are left-handed.
What you said, though, is more an LAX commentary, though, than a Southwest.
It is, I think.
Right?
Yeah, I just also.
Although, yeah, I would say Delta airlines
Southwest
do
is
have
fine.
pull at airports with
Sure.
how they are treated and the terminals they get and the
Totally.
gates they get. So it could be.
That's why Spirit is where it is. They're
It is
like,
why Spirit's
you're
where
in
it
the
is.
back. You're in the
and
worst
and
spot.
it's why they always get delayed because they're like, we don't give a fuck. This is O'Hare.
We're not putting out the fires over there.
United has priority on everything. If it's a storm, if it's bad weather, if there's only one runway operating, United's getting first
Sorry.
dibs. And
Terminal
Delta's
7.
that in Atlanta and other places. Yes. And so
Good exit.
it might be sort of reflective on some level because they're like, hey, Delta's getting that terminal.
Right,
You
right,
guys
right.
are down here. We'll give you something new, but
Well, Delta remodeled. They only had 2 for a while. Then they got 3, and now they've kind of doubled up with both of them. But it used to be like 5 across the way, and then they moved over. But anyways,
Bad spot.
they figured out 5.
I tell you what, though, when it comes to comparing LAX to Burbank,
Yeah.
there's something about getting off your flight and being
Yeah.
like, I'm home, but then I live in Los Feliz, so I'm like, I'm home, but I
hour.
have to shuttle to
Uber.
to the Uber place,
Yeah.
Uber an hour home,
Yeah.
smell whatever scents I'm gonna smell. Even though I checked the "Don't Talk to Me" box, he's gonna talk to me.
We're going to talk.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
sure.
gonna talk.
That's how they know you
I'm
do
gonna
wanna
bring it
talk.
up, and then
Yeah,
the gates are open. But
anybody who checks Don't Talk has something to say.
that's right.
Yeah.
Anybody who checks
I've never checked Don't Talk.
I haven't either. My wife would love it if I did.
Oh, yeah.
She hates when I talk to an Uber driver, but I
Why?
like it. I
You're a
like it.
social guy.
I'm a social guy.
Yeah.
Well, if it's a long drive, I feel weird not.
The quiet. Yeah.
Unless I'll read the vibe though. If they're
Yeah.
doing something, a lot of times you get someone who's bold and you're just always on speakerphone at all times all day.
Yeah.
With someone else who has nothing to say to you. Like I can see the speakerphone on your.
I know.
you
I've always wondered the phone calls. Who is on the other end?
I think some people spend their days just almost in like a conference as if they were
Yes.
sitting in a cubicle together.
Yes.
But they're doing their own whole thing. And then
I'm
every once
doing
in a
it
while-
now.
Oh, you're on a call right now.
I'm on a call right now with my cousin.
Who is
cousin
Ubering?
John.
Who's Ubering?
He's Ubering right now.
And he's driving. This is actually what he's
He is
talking
a
to.
silent. No,
God,
don't
I
talk
would
to
love
me.
to know that. Anyways, I just had to air that grievance about
You're 100%
Southwest.
right. That
The
terminal,
flight is fine. I wish
a lot
that
of
there was
clear
like,
too. Clear is wild. I actually, poor Alyssa had to hear me like bitch about this once. But at Midway, I thought it through in my mind. If you are pre-check, you will stop twice. You will stop when they go, hey, can you go through here? Yeah, you're good. And then when you get to TSA, if you are clear, you will stop 4 times
Oh,
before you are past TSA
yeah.
because they
They're gonna
keep.
check you're clear.
Oh, let me see if you're clear. Okay. Hey, you're clear? Wait right there.
And then let me-
Hey, come over here. You
Yeah.
don't need to stop and go through the kiosk thing. And then they go, okay, wait right here until we can take you up to. I have stopped 4 times.
Yeah.
I race my wife because I don't like clear. I don't like it. I'm like, I don't even know if it often saves me time.
But there are.
Oh
times
my
it
God,
does.
I have
so I
an
race my
example.
wife. I race my wife. Where I'm like, she's like, we pay for it. We should use it.
I just did it at LAX.
And I'm like,
I
I'm
beat-
going straight in, and I
Yeah,
bet
yeah.
I'll get through before
Yep.
you. And I did. And
Yes.
Oh, I'd be livid.
I just did it.
Chef's kiss, dude.
I clocked. I
Dude,
who is?
I was going wing sauce. but you have
I saw.
Yeah. But then also you're like, too hot.
Oh, I'm a bad chef.
God, I love how
Oil-based.
similar
Fuck.
we all are. I don't. Maybe it just happens in traveling, the things you see and don't see. Because at LAX last time I flew, I clocked who was waiting for
Oh,
clear,
yeah, definitely.
and then I went through TSA pre, and I'm like, man, they aren't even in. They aren't even
Yeah.
walking up. I'm like, I can see.
Yeah.
And then I also always think of Office Space, the beginning of Office Space when he's changing lanes and the other
I
lanes
know,
going.
yeah,
in
yeah.
And then I'm like, this old lady is like, because sometimes you come to that fork where you're like, I'm picking
Yeah, you got to pick.
based off of the curvature. I'm like, no, that's a fake out. Like when they start everyone in a track scenario, I'm like, it's all the same, but because of the curl, that's actually not as long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about that.
I bet
so
the last 3 times
make any sense?
I've
Yes,
gone through
100%.
clear, I've been flagged to randomly have to
Yeah.
ID
do
check.
the regular process
ID
anyway.
check.
So
And
I'm like, what am I paying
They,
for?
they told me
Yeah.
that is if you buy one-way flights, which if you
Which
travel
I
a
do
lot, you
almost
tend to buy
exclusively.
one-way flights because you only want to change one leg, not both, or
Yeah,
deal with changing the whole
I
trip.
I was in Atlanta and I was like going into the clear, and clear was kind of crowded. It was all like pretty crowded. And this woman goes, I was like, "Is this clear?" And she goes, "Yeah, but TSA pre-check's going faster." And I everybody that was in earshot of that was with clear was just like, why is that possible?
Right.
Why would that be the case? Also at LAX one time, I just wasn't paying attention, and I went up to do clear. And I was standing there, and I was like waiting for one of the machines, and I looked, and I was like, "Oh, no one's even at TSA pre-check. I could have gone straight to TSA
Straight.
pre-check."
Straight.
And
the
then I
guy's like, your
went
eyes aren't
in.
working.
But I have also done clear where it is an
I've
advantage.
had that too.
And I did it, and
That's
this
why I'm
guy
saying
got behind
masking
me.
tape.
Sometimes.
Yes.
This guy
Sometimes.
was right behind me after they let me in, waiting to put our luggage on the thing. And he goes, "What even is clear?" And I go, "Honestly, it's just we live in this world now where they just create lines to jump other lines." And I go, "I get it for free, but I got to tell you, if I didn't, I wouldn't have it. I'm not going to fucking pay for it."
Right.
And he was like, I go, "TSA pre-check is fine. Even though it's getting like crowded, all it's becoming now is what
standard.
airports used to be."
Right.
Before it became insane. I go, and then it costs us money. I was like, this is just what it is now.
But it's $60. It lasts you like 5 years
For-
or
for
whatever.
pre-check.
free,
Like
yeah.
clear is an actual investment that you have to make, and it's
re-up.
not and re-up every year, and
And
it just doesn't. It
sucks.
has not
So-
been paying off.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a moment that actually may have subconsciously kept me from doing clear more, and that was I have like a standard airport get up. I have I always wear my jean jacket at the airport. It's the good like if you're hot or cold on the flight, it's warm enough.
Yeah, but it looks good.
But I look so cool.
Yeah.
And then I remember the guy, it was just me. He walked me to clear. He's like, he's like, "Can you squat a little," or whatever it is. He's getting my eyes taken a picture of, and then he sees that in my clear photo that I took a year ago,
Sure.
I'm wearing the
same
exact
photo.
same hat. I had a Bengals hat on,
Yeah.
and I had my jean jacket on, and the guy goes, "Oh, weird." And I remember that hurt.
Tell me, you go, it's funny. Last time I was here, you were wearing the same fucking thing, dude.
You kissed me on the lips, and you didn't make
You
me
wore
do
this-
the
you
eye
wore
thing.
this-
You said, "That's your kiss."
And you wore
can
the
go.
same blue shirt and these same blue pants, and you don't see me making fun of you.
You didn't see me kissing you on the lips again.
And he goes, "I wasn't even going to say anything, but now you're being aggressive."
Yeah.
Should we do it?
Yes.
We're going to take a break, and then we're going to be right back with our guest, Luke Null! Let's
What if the
Good to
letter
be
is, are you guys going to introduce your guest?
Are you guys going to talk about?
Are you guys going to say who your guest is today? Because I realized in the break, we haven't.
We have it, and we won't.
No, we have to.
No, we
Guys,
have to.
you're listening to the dulcet tones of the jean jacket beautiful man known as Luke Null.
These old rags.
Life, tours, schedule, work, gigs.
This is how you introduce him?
Also,
These are the
I'm
many
James
topics.
Lipton. Also,
That's
I'm
kind of my
James
bullet
Lipton.
points.
I'm James Lipton. Life, school.
These are the many topics.
When I tell you that this man has been a contribution to comedy, you'll have no doubt that I'm correct.
That's good.
Thanks, buddy.
Nice.
Mr. Luke Null. Guys, officially. Dude, I said all
Officially.
this thing to say. It's been a long time coming getting you on.
Man, oh man, I feel like one.
Oh my God, my tour, his tour.
Did someone have COVID?
At some
when
point,
at
somebody
some point,
had the
Probably all
body
of us.
disease.
It might have been me.
Could have been.
I think it was literally me.
It could have been.
Was it me?
Maybe
No,
once.
it was one of us.
Okay, because I remembered.
One of
love
us.
it.
One
love-
of
we
us.
love getting
We
it.
love-
Gobble. So thanks, man.
Thank you for having me.
We'll do plugs as we always do in between the two letters. I'm going to read this, okay? Hello, pals.
Okay.
Gigantic fan here. I'm a day one paler.
Wow.
That means
That's too long.
that palers have listened to every episode.
It's too much.
Too many. You want to adopt season 3.
I listened to the short teaser episodes. That would be like June 2017, 18.
Yeah.
Within hours of Rory posting about them on Instagram. You're both great talents and great people.
That's a great start to the letter.
I'm writing to ask about love. Okay. I'm currently in a 3-year relationship and have some mixed feelings about our future together. She sees a very clear future for us, marriage, kids, etc., but I feel somewhat ambivalent. I love her a lot, but I'm not sure if I'm in love with her. There's no huge problems in our relationship, but there's definitely times when I feel something intangible is lacking. And there's also times when I feel the relationship is bringing more stress than joy into my life. I know that after time, the spark and excitement of infatuation can fade, but part of me wonders if maybe I'm just not with the right person. Should I take the risk of losing someone who loves me a lot, or should I go F2F, face to face, and try to make it work with someone who I care about a lot, even though I don't feel I can ever fully reciprocate the feelings she has for me? Wish you all the best. P.S. Best sport to watch live versus best sport to watch on TV. Hockey, football. All right.
We immediately skip the love and only talk hockey football.
Welcome to
let's get
welcome
it.
to the party.
Yeah, exactly.
Our pen pals send us these letters.
Yep.
Very thoughtful. Something going on with their life. Oh, look at my new dog. Oh my gosh, should I break up with this person? All this stuff. I'm moving. And then they end it with a question that we're like, hey, just so you know, that's all we're going to talk about.
The only thing we're
now.
talking about is hockey.
I mean-
if you're high up enough live, really fun. Better tickets, quote unquote, when you're lower down, closer to
Danger.
the ice, not even that.
Danger.
I like a
You
little
can't
rake.
see.
A little bit of a
It's
rake.
true. You can't see.
A little bit
You
of
gotta
a
be
rake.
mid to up.
Top of the low section.
Top of the low
On an
section is
angle,
great.
looking like nets like here. That's
If you're too close, the actual the opaque part of the wall will seal off like 2/3 of the ice.
if you're too close, yeah, you are just there to be able to scream if that was a goal or not.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm front row in the jungle in Cincinnati, wait, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Okay, so you do love watching football games live?
Oh yeah.
To me, it's so confusing.
Nah, dog, I'm all the way.
But you're always like, how many timeouts do we have? Wait, did that person get hurt? What's the
Interesting
down and
point.
distance? How much time? Like when you're watching a game, you can process so much information once to know what they're gonna do here. When I'm there live, I'm always like, did he catch it?
But there's a community to it where sometimes I'm turning over and this drunk guy who's been screaming
Of course.
himself
This is a
hoarse.
good,
I go,
good factor.
Oh, he'll know.
yeah, he knows.
Yeah, he'll know.
I was at that
My
game.
favorite is the guys, the old timers usually that have radio play-by-play
Okay. Yeah,
in
yeah.
their ear. That's big at Wrigley Field. Those are guys.
I was
are
at the game
everywhere.
where DeMar Hamlin died. I was at he survived, but I was
course.
at
Yeah, yeah.
that game, and that is a very no one knew less in the moment than us in the stadium. Everyone's checking their phones, and so no one has service. And
Yeah.
everyone's like,
How quiet?
going
How
on?
quiet did it get?
it was the most messed up. Like you could hear the Doppler effect of the ambulance leaving the stadium, kind of thing.
Oh.
And then there was a moment where me and my brother were like, maybe we shouldn't support this.
Yeah, there's
That's
definitely
the
rough.
first time I realized
rough.
what Doppler effect means.
But then
Was
you were,
it? That it was sounding farther away.
Yeah, I didn't realize that's Doppler effect.
but then you were like, beer guy.
Bigger.
Yeah, beer guy.
First
That's
quarter.
what broke the silence. I got beer.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, yeah, we're back to normal.
Yeah.
Everything's normal.
And there's that moment where when they wheel guys off who are hurt, they give a thumbs up and there's an applause
know,
moment.
yeah.
But then there's a fucking ambulance in the field. There was a moment where they got him up on the stretcher and everyone starts to applaud, and then you see that the defibrillator is what's happening. And we're like,
Yeah.
don't
Wow.
applaud yet. He hasn't given thumbs up.
What a moment.
Rough.
Man,
Rough.
I gotta say, just the beer kicking back in, so Saltburn. You know what I mean? It's almost time for lunch.
But I
they're
always wondered, a player in a contract year, okay, knows instantly they blew their knee out.
Yeah.
Remember the NCAA tournament where the guy blew his knee out running back up the court, and 3 other players from the other team who heard it fell?
Yeah.
And everybody on the bench heard it. Like athletes, even just normal, I think almost every normal person knows when it's gone. And I always wonder if they're like, They finally get him up onto the cart or whatever, knees gone, contract year. He knows he just lost a minimum $20 million.
Yeah.
And they're like, give him the thumbs up. And he's like, fuck you. I'm not giving.
And also,
This
they're
is
like,
not a
"We should-
thumbs up
shit."
situation.
Yeah.
The director up in the booth is like, I see that the man is crying. Can we get a real tight zoom?
Real tight.
Is there someone who can get under
Yeah.
the towel that he has over his head
Yeah.
so we can really see this young man seeing his life
Let's get in
alter?
on this senior college prospect who had definite draft hopes who
Yeah.
just blew their knee
Last
out.
year.
Real tight
Draft
zoom.
hopes last year. Could have gone.
Yeah.
We want the 4K of the tier.
One of the best live sporting events I've ever been to was the Islanders versus the Rangers at Madison Square Garden.
Great.
Super
It
fun.
was me and Vince Averill and Casey Corbin, and we were there. I took someone else's ticket that didn't have it. We walked around Madison Square Garden, smoked a joint, went in super high, had a knish. So good. Never forget that. I'll never forget that moment because I didn't know what they were.
Still don't.
And I'm still leading it. And there, across from us, there are 8 guys in Islanders jerseys, and they are huge dudes. There's one guy by himself wearing nothing who is a Rangers fan. And anytime the Islanders scored, which they did, the Rangers won, I think, like 4-3. It was great. Tons of goals.
Good game.
But anytime the Islanders scores, these guys stood up. 8 guys who were very big. And this guy stood up alone and was like, sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up. The guy was so intense by himself that 8 very large guys who definitely played high school football minimum
Yeah.
were like,
Current cops.
literally were like, all right. Whoa. And I just remember watching that, and the other great element about it, and you may remind me of this, guy behind me, he's got the radio going of the game. So we're getting that.
I love
and
that.
then guy in front of me, old guy with his grandson, explaining everything to his grandson. I'm getting this.
Love that.
I'm getting that. I'm getting a sideshow over
Yeah.
here. This,
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
also just
You're like in
great
an editing
seats
bay.
up high. Literally, we're high, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, hockey is great.
It's the best. Hockey's the best.
But I had all those elements.
But
you know?
I have to give you credit when our boss invited us to the LA Football
William?
Club. Yes. Invited us to the LA Football Club, LAFC, and I have never been to a
Super fun.
professional
They're
live.
So
wild,
fun.
dude.
You want to talk about a live experience for that. Now, I imagine it's. Oh, I know that there can be some hooligans.
Oh.
But I imagine
Intense.
in the UK, it's insane.
All of them are.
It's the whole place.
It's
I
the
made
whole
a-
town, right?
I
I
made
mean,
a
it's the whole.
massive
It's like
mistake.
I saw Welcome to Wrexham, and I'm like, oh, this is everybody,
It's
every
everyone's
age,
thing.
every demographic, every profession,
They are
every
one
walk of life.
I mean, it's
they are one
it's
cell.
like the NFL. I mean, there's more. I think there's a little more passion. But
I
like,
would say
another-
way more
another
passion.
level.
But I mean,
come
the
on, you
NFL
told me you're
but
like,
the
watch down that
NFL
end. I go, why?
doesn't
And you go,
have-
you'll see.
But I mean to say, like, the NFL isn't like. Anyways, that's the section of people who really like the game. It's the whole stadium.
Sure, but Rory, I
Yeah.
looked at you. I go, that's a crazy way to start the game.
when
And you
you
go, and you look at me. You go, Daniel, it's not going to stop. And I go, what do you mean it's not going to stop? And you go, you'll see.
They have tribal drums. They bring it's a
Well,
BYM drum.
I go at halftime. They're going to take a break.
I remember I'm from Cincinnati, and Cincinnati got
Bragging.
a little bit of a brag. We've never won anything my entire life, and it's been almost a full waste of time until the last 2 years.
It's going to be sweet, though.
It's
gonna be
truly
sweet.
been
It's
awful.
going to be sweet.
It's going to be great. Joe Burrow
Did Cleveland winning feel like something?
hurt.
Oh, it hurt.
It hurt because I've been making fun of them a lot.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
But
NCAA, Cincinnati's won some shit, right?
I'm not a UC
You're going
guy.
pro. You're going
I'm going
pro.
Do
pro.
they still have a baseball team?
We got Reds, but
I
one
know.
of the
Big
worst.
Red Machine,
truly,
dude.
truly awful my entire life.
Big Red Machine.
Truly awful. Big Red Machine, and it was 75, 76, 77. So they are
you were
leaning
20.
hard on that. I was 20. I moved to LA, and I'm doing good.
Great.
But we got an MLS team. And Cincinnati got an MLS team, so I went. My friend was like, "I'll hook you up with some LAFC. They're gonna be in LA." I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
"Great." My wife doesn't care. She goes, "All right, I got the kits, I got the merch. We're doing
Yeah.
the thing."
Yeah.
And I go, "Oh my gosh, he got us row 1, seat 1, 2. Let's
Yeah.
go. This is gonna be amazing."
Yeah.
We show up. It's the hooligan section for LAFC.
yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. And
No.
what those
And it's
seating are.
chance, a lot of chance.
It's
They summon a spirit.
They summon a lot. They are very intense, and I'm like, I don't realize that it's just general seating in that crazy section.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'm down in the front. These guys stop me, and they're like, because they see me wearing the opponent stuff. And,
Oh
he,
my
and he
gosh.
goes, I'm going to say this to you right now before the game starts. I'm going to be nicer to you than anyone else is going to be. If you stay here, they're going to fuck you up.
Yeah.
And I went, whoa, there's my seats. He goes, you see that little nugget up in the corner, all in the distance, that little speck of blue and orange? That's where you sit. And I go,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
okay. And they are putting their hands on it. They are like
Pushing you out.
one step away from crowd surfing us out of the section.
yeah.
And my wife, we get up to the opponent section. My wife is like catatonic, and she actually breaks the silence by being like, I'll never be an away fan with you anywhere for anything ever. And she has it.
Did you text your friend and go, just say you hate me?
Yeah. Did you want me to die?
Yeah, your friend. I'm actually
led me
really
astray.
upset about your friend there.
He led me astray.
All right, we gotta get into some of this here.
Oh, so
We
this-
have.
the love here.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I know you're married. I'm
Yeah.
a married guy.
Yeah.
I've been with my wife.
I'm not married.
You're not married.
No.
All right, but I feel like asking. I've been with my wife for like 13. Not we haven't been married 13 years, but we've been together a very long time.
Yeah.
So I feel like asking me about like love stuff is like I always think it's weird when people ask priests.
Yeah.
And where I'm like, you're a virgin.
Like relationship,
You don't know
even
shit.
even-
yeah.
yeah.
Or
You're
when they
the
tell you how
worst
to parent or how to have a relationship, you're like,
You don't
but
know
like
anything.
Catholics have to go sit with a priest before they get married.
Yeah,
It's like,
insane.
what in the
Luke,
fuck are we talking
Luke,
about?
back a point of contention, point of order.
Sure.
There was a point when you had to say to yourself, do I know this? And you said, yeah, I know it. This is the
To
one.
get married?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. You're
and
right.
and you can speak to, obviously it's very personal because it's your guys' dynamic and your chemistry, and she's her and you're you.
Sure.
But you did have to go, all right, let me weigh this because we've been together this long. Is it really, marriage?
You're
Is
right.
it?
You're
and
right.
and do you think my sort of feeling is you either are on the roller coaster or you're off it. And so you can't kind of half do it. And if you're saying to yourself like, yeah, I just don't think I'm in love with them, then you aren't. Because I think you could say I love them so much and I want this to work and I want to stay with them because the love part isn't
They
in
say
question.
how long
Well, this
they've been
person's
together?
3 years.
3 years?
3 years.
is that's a moment of
I love her a lot, but I'm not sure if I'm in love with her. Then I'd go, you're probably not.
3 years. I hadn't moved in with my wife.
Yeah.
So 3 years we weren't living together. I do think like there's a lot of follow-up questions I would have of like, do you live together? Are your lives intermeshed?
Ask them.
Like,
This is pen pals. They might write us back.
You might
We'll let
write
you
us
know.
back. That would be questions of like, it's a lot of people were like, how did you know your wife was the one?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've seen her as bad as it can get with her. She's seen me at my worst,
And you
and I'm
didn't
like,
want out.
that's not that bad. I'm like, she's
Yes.
pretty.
Right.
You're a good person.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's a bummer when I see single friends of mine dating, where I'm like, it's a bummer that just being like, oh, this is a good person is wildly harder to find than you would think. I'm just like,
yeah.
oh man, that's a huge bummer that like I found someone who's like not trying to spitefully hurt my feelings.
Huge.
and-
Right, yeah.
You know what I
literally
mean? Yeah.
abusive.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right.
Or
you're
like
right.
if friends who will say something and you'll go, they said that to you? And you're like, yeah, I wouldn't still be dating them. Just
Yeah.
give me that alone.
See?
They were like, yes, they said that blank, blank. And I go, either you bring out the worst in each other. Don't do it.
Also
You're-
true.
You're,
Also
you're
can
over.
happen.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the reason you bring out the worst in each other. Or they don't like you. Or I hate to say this because you seem to really like them, but they just might be a bad person.
Yeah.
Because as you
bummer.
guys would go, yeah, if somebody said something horrible that their girlfriend or boyfriend said to you, and then you were like, let me picture Jordan saying that. And you'd
Yeah.
go, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That's not.
oh yeah, this person doesn't make decisions to go out of their way to maliciously hurt me
Or set
You
me
know,
up to
yes.
fail.
How are
and-
you in arguing? Are you like,
I've adopted her argument tactics, which I think is for the worst.
smart? Oh, sorry.
Whoa.
Which I'm like, oh no, I think I need to go back to what I used to do, which is
Notes.
Just I can take a couple more gut punches.
Yeah.
And then, but I'm pretty good about being like, hey, in the moment of an upset discussion, I'm usually pretty good at being like, hey, I think maybe we need to take a minute to walk in another room.
That's very mature.
And then, but I've gotten worse about that as time's gone on. I used to
okay.
be better about being like, you said a couple mean things to me in a row,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
ready to say one back.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna.
Yeah.
But we're for the most part, we're pretty good. But I'll say to this person specifically, I guess it's just jogged loose in my head. I broke up with my wife after about 3 years. We were long distance for a minute, and she moved to Chicago, and we broke up about 3 years in, and I had a similar feeling of like, you know, I'm gonna really marry this person that I dated in college, and this is gonna be the one person I ever. And I'm like, Champ needs to know if he still got it. You know what I mean? There's a moment where the grass is greener, but I'm like, I do need to go on.
Now tell
on
us,
a fuck rampage.
Take us down that road. Describe the different.
My
rampages.
fuck rampage.
Yeah.
So there was a moment where it was more of a. How do I know that this
Have
is?
you seen the bath scene in Eastern Promise?
Have you ever heard of a cum stalactite? Oh, it's when the buildup over years it actually
Now you
forms
need a sturdy floor
You
above
really
that.
want to make sure that there's a good ceiling. Yeah. So over the years,
But they say
a geological formation.
You're so on. They say that almost every meaningful relationship that you have, whether it ends in marriage or just as somebody who's with you for 3, 5, 7 years, will go through at least one breakup.
We did. We broke up. We both went our own ways for about a year, and we dated other people. But there was a moment, letter writer, where I realized I don't like any of these people, and this whole thing about me wanting to go and see what else is out there. This grass is way more exhausting. That's part of it too. It's like I know that I love someone.
Sure.
So you realize when you're away from that person, there is a moment where you go,
Oh yeah.
oh boy.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I do not care about any of these.
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And that's why I say if they're saying I don't know if I love them, that you probably don't.
You probably don't. You probably don't.
Or you
but
do
3
love
years
them,
in,
but
it's there's a
In
you
love.
hit a lull or you hit something
Sure.
where you're like, you know, if you're feeling like you never want to get married or something, then you're holding on to them. That is hurt.
I mean, when he says I feel like the
probably.
relationship is bringing more stress than joy into my life.
There's time, but here's the thing: there's been times where I felt like that.
But that's commitment.
I do that.
I do that.
I bring the stress.
You bring stress.
I'm a stress bringer.
I can be a stress bringer myself, But there's also times where, like I said, when you know someone really well.
Should I
And
take
you-
the risk of losing someone who loves me a lot?
I gotta say, this is not the type of letter that we will be able to answer. I mean, the only advice we can offer is you really got to sit with this and really think about it because,
Have you
like
been
you said,
pegged or not?
when people say oh, the spark goes out and all this or whatever it is, I think that does happen. Eventually,
Sure,
at some point,
of
you are friends and you're like, oh yeah, are we compatible? Can we do this? Do we want to do this?
Right.
It becomes more than that early romance that is fun. But then when I think I've said it on the show before, I think some people misinterpret that when that fun goes away, that sort of early romance, I think some people interpret that as, oh, I don't think we're meant to be together, as opposed to this is actually just what it's like with people.
Yes.
It can't be day one all the fucking time. It
Right.
can't
You're not
be.
still sucking your mom's boobs after
Yeah.
all these years.
Yeah.
You did it early on.
And that's a good
you got
example.
it out of your way.
Great example.
That's a great metaphor for this.
Well, you don't know. That's what we say all the time.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you can.
We
only,
say that all the fucking time. But I think people, any relationship, if it's gonna be maybe long term, year one is gonna be different than 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, and eventually. I used to wonder when I was a kid how my grandparents would they would fucking fight. My grandmother would say something to my grandfather, and he'd kind of take it, but sometimes he'd also kind of push back. And then 5 minutes later, they were just like, what are we doing for dinner? And you would be like, did you guys forget? I was like, oh, how are you not harboring this? And
yes.
why are you not mad for a
I get
while?
like that too.
And yet because you just get worn down to knowing oh yeah, fights, little
things.
squabbles just will happen. And you get past them. But
We're toxicity
it isn't like you go,
bonded.
oh, but we're having these squabbles. It's we probably aren't in love anymore. It's you're going to have these even with whoever the next person is. There's no way around it.
I
Yeah,
agree.
that feeling doesn't go away. In fact, but there is something to be said of if you are not seeing value in this relationship, or this is something that you don't, your values long term don't align, marriage, children. That if those main things are on a different trajectory, then I think you follow your gut. But if it's that just oh man, we're not doing as much ball play as we used to. It's get over it, pal. It's cyclical ball play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't know what you meant by that.
yeah. So February is kind of ball play season.
I would agree.
June, sweaty, hot.
You're not going to be
Sticky.
ball playing.
Sticky.
Not
Sticky.
as much, expectation of ball play.
I think that says it.
I think it's covered. Yeah.
James, let us know. I like that Luke had some stuff to say. What about this? What about that? Are you guys, living together, all of those things.
It does make it harder to leave. It makes it harder to when you go,
It does.
Yeah.
do I want to choose a hard thing?
I think we kind of give this out a lot. Like, I don't know, maybe try some therapy. Like
Try a
hear
little
yourself
couples
talk
therapy.
to somebody.
No.
I don't even know if couples, honestly.
Agreed.
Like
No.
have somebody to
Agreed.
talk to and talk about your stuff and talk about your feelings, and maybe you can kind of be able to sort things out. Oh, this is aligned with that. This speaks to this. This is just fear. Whatever it is, and you might be able to get a clearer answer that way. Either way,
Or you could write into a more toxic podcast, and they could be like, killer.
Yeah.
yeah.
something.
That
Those
might
shows
happen.
exist. Those shows exist.
You might
They're
get
out
the
there.
wrong
and then you'll
advice.
end up on another podcast
thing
where
you
they talk
came
about
here.
you. All right. We wish you well. Sincerely, your pen pals, Daniel Van Kirk.
Rory Scovel and
Luke Null.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Plugs and hugs. My special's on Max. Watch it. If you want to watch physical on Apple TV Plus, watch it. If you don't, that's fine. Fuck, what did I do? Oh, if you want to look at some of my paintings, go to my website, roryscovel.com. And I think that's all I've got. I just have nothing really. Oh, if you're in LA and you want to see a show at Elysian, Chad Damiani and I are doing a kind of a weird kind of show. So come on out and check that out.
I just did his show this past
yeah. Did you like it?
Sunday. I had a great time.
Was it just the two of you?
It was just the two of us.
Doesn't that like
Silent
really
clown.
take you somewhere? A cellist on stage?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Did you enjoy it?
I loved it. I
It's-
was terrified in a very fun way.
It takes you out of your comfort zone. Very vulnerable.
I saw some pictures of times he had done it in the past.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of male nudity.
Yeah.
And so I thought to myself,
I thought the same.
I need to do a little manscaping to where
In
if
case.
stuff pops out,
Yeah.
it looks like it should.
Well, it's ball season.
It's ball
Ball
season.
play season.
Literally ball season. Yeah, I know what you mean.
For me, DanielVanKirk.com for dates and rates. You can go there. My special drops April 17th, Rose Gold. And on April 9th, I will be doing the hour one last time as it stands at the Elysian Theater at 7:30. So go to DanielVanKirk.com. And on May 18th, I'll be in Wisconsin at the Thrasher Opera House in Green Lake, Wisconsin. I'd love to see you there. Other stuff coming soon.
Nice. My name is Luke Null.
Yep.
Have so much fun being here.
Thanks, buddy.
I like how you downplay. You're like, I don't really have that much. Just a release of a major special. Little turd. I'm gonna do my. I got a little. We're all little special guys.
Sure.
I think I'm premiering mine or clips of mine at the Netflix's Joke Fest on Cinco
nice.
de Mayo.
Yeah,
Nice.
So I want to make
Little
sure that that's
5-5
cool
action.
and fun. Little 5-5. So I'm on Cinco de Mayo going to be doing that. I think at the Kookaburra Lounge.
Nice.
Brand new zone. Very fun. Very cool.
I don't know where that is.
Brand spanking new in Hollywood. If you're going to
Kookaburra Lounge.
if you're doing Netflix Fest is a joke fest, I'd love to have you. Gonna do plenty of goofs and stuff, but I'm also on the road all the time. So yeah, website and the socials, my on Instagram and TikTok, all that stuff. Luke Null.
Awesome.
Nice.
We're on TikTok too, the Pen Pals Pod, and Instagram. Also,
Get it.
we haven't said this in a long time.
Yeah.
You can send us letters, thepenpalspod@gmail.com,
Send us letters,
Or-
folks. It's the fuel for the fire.
or mail us a letter
Yep.
at 5419 Hollywood Boulevard, Suite C, number 121, Los Angeles, California.
90027.
Awesome. Ready?
Let's go to the
this
next
one.
one. Here it is.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Ready?
Me ready.
Coldest you've ever been. Hi, Daniel. Oh,
Well, no.
hey, Daniel and Rory.
Read it clear and loud.
Hey,
and proud.
Daniel and Rory.
Love it.
You chose this one, and now I know why.
I think they chose, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, well, they got it wrong. And I also think you wrote this letter. I just got back from a trip to Finland. Oh, never mind. And goddamn was it cold. By the way, whenever you write goddamn, you're not still intending the thing that is still like if you are like saying goddamn because you think it's not okay to say goddamn, you are still saying goddamn when you say goddamn. I want to be very clear about that.
God is still upset.
It's like people who have anal sex and they go, "I'm still a virgin." You're not.
Damn it!
You're
Right.
not.
And you need to, did they capitalize the G in got?
It's actually, great point. This person didn't do it in God, and so they're going to hell.
What if it's atoll?
Does that make sense? When we're like, God
Atoll
damn.
sex.
It's like you're still saying goddamn.
I mean, have you run into your child changing cuss words and being like, "I didn't say it"?
No, we let her curse.
Yeah,
I have a whole great bit about it. It's
I know.
fucking dope as
Really
fuck.
good.
I know that in your house, but I remember in mine, I had like,
Oh, we
alts,
had
and my
rules.
mom would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
like, "You're still saying shit." I
Yeah.
go, I said shiv it. I said bullshiv it. Core memory.
I just got back from Finland. Cold. I'm American and grew up in the South, so I was lucky to see. Ever see snow. When I off the plane for my trip, it was negative 15 degrees Fahrenheit and negative 25 with wind chill. Folks, I don't know if you know this, but that is cold. That is real cold.
Really cool.
My mustache and inner nose hairs were frozen within minutes. Then you're actually not even supposed to be out in that kind of
No, it's
temperature.
dangerous. You can die.
Within like 3 minutes. You could be.
Have
dead.
you ever? Well, we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
I bet
Then-
that's part of this.
Then I got on a train to go further north where it was even colder. My goddamn eyelids would freeze shut. Despite all this, I don't think this is the coldest I've ever been. Potentially, it was shooting the hooch, Rory knows, in October, or a rainy late season football game just wearing a t-shirt under my soaked marching band uniform. Something about being cold and wet is way worse. Pen pals, what's the coldest you've ever been? Dan.
Bling, bling, bling,
Decent amount to
bling.
unpack.
It does say call me Dan, but he's biased.
I don't like that.
Have you you guys, the region that you're from, definitely colder than the region I grew up in South Carolina, but
I've experienced colder than what was listed here.
yeah,
Yeah.
But I get what this person is referring to in that, like, simply
hurts.
it being colder outside doesn't necessarily mean you're that frozen to the bone wet
Yeah.
kind of cold. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
you're
Yeah, yeah.
like presumably you're prepared to go to Finland and have like a parka or something.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
yeah.
But yeah, like getting caught when unprepared.
The
for
wet
the
cold
is
is
tough.
yes. Oh my god,
I went
it's
to
the
a
worst.
Bears-Packers game at kickoff. It was negative 14.
No,
I mean,
No.
Now, we had those hot hands things in our pockets, in our hands, in our gloves.
yeah,
And then we also have them, you
your
put them in
shoes.
your shoes. And then went like with full, because Uncle Ken worked for the city, he was able to get us like those coverall, like Carhartt, like before it was cool. Just like full on, like what the fucking, Rochelle Municipal Utilities linemen wear.
Right.
Electrical linemen. And it was insanely cold. However, I was fine.
you're prepared.
Yes.
You're prepared.
Yes. That's what people say, because in L.A., I was doing this joke for a little while where I was like,
How old were you at that time?
27,
Oh, okay, yeah,
28.
yeah.
In L.A., they didn't really build these older apartment buildings or anything with like insulation.
Right.
And so it doesn't let it out the right way. It lets it in too easily.
Yeah.
And so it will be like, I tell people this, I go, hey, in Rochelle, Illinois, if it's 45 degrees outside, it's probably about 65 degrees in your house.
Yeah.
In LA, if it's 49 degrees outside, it is 49
Yes.
degrees in your
Yeah,
house.
yeah, yeah.
There's no
Houses
Yes.
are for show here, and that includes rain.
yes.
Where you're just like, oh.
And oftentimes you'll find yourself being outside in what you would not have taken with you if you were in the Midwest. So you are very cold.
You're not prepared for it.
Yes.
Which loops back around. I'm an Eagle Scout.
Oh,
Hey,
Are you?
Sergeant.
Oh, left hand would be the official.
That's true.
wait, is that
the
true?
official Boy Scout handshake. Is
You know,
simply
I
a
don't know that.
left-handed shake.
Girl Scout. So
Did you go all the way?
yeah, cookies.
You know, I don't know.
Yes.
They, them scout.
They them Scout.
I
Venture
saw a
Scouts
meme
is-
recently. It just said someone was like, I think I'm gonna finally start eating right, and it just says Girl Scouts. The fuck you are.
Samoas. Samoas.
Samoas.
Samoas.
Samoas. S
Okay.
tier. But I went on a on a camp out one time that was canoeing down.
This is for
the
Eagle
river.
Scouts.
This was for Boy Scouts.
Okay,
I
Boy
was
Scouts.
like
Yes,
probably
yeah.
15 maybe, and I'm canoeing down a river in Tennessee in the summertime. But it rains every fucking day.
Yeah.
And it's one of those situations where each guy only had one little bag of like rainproof.
Yeah.
Because you're just in the rain. If you're canoeing, you're just
it.
eating it.
Yeah.
Coming
you're not
up.
even exactly. You're just sitting in open rain all day.
Yeah.
And so there's a moment where I remembered my sleeping bag, my like dry bag, got water inside of it. So
You're done.
and I'm done. I'm toast. And so there was a moment where I was wet sleeping, which is miserable. And so I try to be slick and like dry my sleeping bag out by putting it near the fire because you can dry it out.
Luke.
Melt that sucker right to a rock. That thing immediately is melted to a rock. I'm just like, I'm fucked. I'm fucked. So I'm like sleeping with like my jacket, like my sleeping bag's ruined.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
peeling it off of a rock. But yeah, I remembered it being like not that cold at night, but rainy, wet is bad. But I was in Chicago 2013 for the polar vortex, -40. That was like, it was brutal. Like
Yeah.
I remember being outside and like
it hurts
blinking.
your teeth.
Yes.
It hurts everything.
I had just played. I played Lincoln Lodge, and the
So
show had
super fun.
ended, and I was staying at like Lincoln or some. It was a 1 mile walk, and the show had ended, and I was like, a mile straight down this road. I was like, I'm gonna walk back, and everyone was like, let us give you a ride. I go, no, I'm gonna walk. I was like, it's a nice night. I'm just gonna go down, and it'll be a mile. I want to play the show in my head, and blah blah blah. I was outside for 2 minutes, and I was like, cab! A cab like went by. I got in. The guy's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I thought I could walk like a mile. It was, by the way, just so you know, it was 6 degrees. I'm not even saying negative.
but the wind chill.
it
was
was
negative.
separation
If it was
from
six-
Kevin
I
Bacon?
had just
If
like
it was 6, you were walking around in
I had just
negative
not
wind
been
chill.
in that. He was with me. I have not been in that
wonder.
kind of like a temperature like that. And if I have ever in my life, it's been a long time. And that guy was like, yeah, you don't want to be out in this. And everyone was like, oh yeah, the polar vortex. It was the week after the polar vortex. And somebody was like, oh man, last week it was 50 degrees colder than this. And I was like, it is so cold right now that I'm not joking you when I say I actually can't even picture or imagine even slightly what that must have felt like. And people were telling me like there were warnings like if your dog's got to go outside to go to the bathroom, you've got 2 minutes max. And one guy after the show was like, I let my dog out. He goes, and I just had the door open. I was smoking a cigarette, and I was kind of watching the game, and I'd watch the dog. And he goes, and I kind of was watching the game too long. He goes, I looked back outside. He goes, and I watched my dog. No, the dog is fine.
Okay.
He goes, I watched my dog in the cold just accept death and like lay down like and now,
like in the gray?
like it was literally like, and now I'm gonna die. And like I can't even go back to the house. And he was like, he goes, I looked out and he was like, oh fuck. He goes, I went and grabbed the dog, brought him in, like warmed him up, and he was fine. He goes, but I watched my dog accept death. And he
Saw
goes,
it in
it was
his
the
eyes.
most surreal thing to like see your dog just be like, I can't get back to the
over,
house.
buddy.
He's not coming out to get me. I'm dead. It's over. It's over
This
for
is
me.
it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But people were telling me like those kind of stories, and it was funny is that I ran into Chad Daniels that weekend, and we went and got a coffee, and I was telling him basically that story and how people were like, oh, it's so much colder, and he was like, where I live up in Minnesota, he goes, it was 30 degrees colder than that, and he said I was inside my home, outside is cold. He goes, I have the heat on. Full heat.
Blasting it.
Yes.
Blasting the heat.
Yes.
And he goes, and I would touch the walls inside the house. He goes, and they were starting to get cold. And he goes, he said, I literally had no next move. He goes, I did not know what even it would be. And I was like, wow, yeah, I have no clue like what I would even do with my child and be like, all right, I don't know what our plan is to like stay alive.
Remember
right
me
now.
as I was.
Yeah. Anyways,
Tauntaun
we're all going to
inside
be
my body.
We're all
cut
going to be
me
going through that sort of
Yeah, we might get
day
to-
after
we might
tomorrow
get to-
scenario,
yeah.
probably 10 years.
It does
Aunt-
hit quick. It does hit
Aunt-
quick in the Midwest.
Oh my gosh. Aunt Connie said to me once, and I just said, sometimes just people put something in a perspective that you're like, yeah. They go, she goes, she's like, it's 67 degrees in our house, 68 degrees in our house. It's negative 35 outside. Our heater is doing over 100 degrees worth of work.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh fuck, you're right. Like,
It also makes you feel that much worse for like homeless people in,
Oh my
in
gosh.
Chicago. You're like, you guys are doing
I've
it.
always wondered
They
what
die.
happens.
They die.
Do they die?
a lot of
A lot of
deaths,
them die.
but in a lot of places you have to open up. But then you have to get the word out, like where you can go.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of good citizens and good people devoting their time and their love to just humans.
Yeah.
To say like, hey, here's where
Go
you
here.
can go.
Or you go hang out on the red line for a little while.
Yeah, that's
That's
a
a
bit-
that's a
Yeah.
move. That sometimes
And they
you
will
do.
sometimes just have a like amnesty on that where they're like, just get on a train. We're fine. Just
Yeah,
stay on a train. Because you get so cold. I'm trying to think of like, I remember one time I was home and we get used to it. I get spoiled. One of the reasons I live where I live is because how much I would get seasonal depression, right?
too.
So I was very excited to have my career and life take me out here. And I was back home and I was home for like 5 days. It was one of those shutdown weather temperatures.
And you're not used to it anymore.
And I was like, guys, you don't understand. Like, if I need to like go outside and walk for a run, I just go outside. So I gotta go. And I remember Aunt Connie and Uncle Ken being like, you should not go for a walk. But I literally had to, and I don't regret doing it. But I got like a block and a half. And I was like, I gotta come back.
Yeah.
And by the time I got back, everything
Yeah.
hurt. My extremities all hurt. And a lot of people don't think about you can't warm up fast.
No.
Like
Right.
intense heat hurts.
Yeah, yeah.
Almost as bad as what you were just feeling
Intense
from the
cold.
cold. Yes. And so you have to like gradually warm
Have some
yourself up.
chili and hot cocoa.
Wild to me.
Okay, warm up.
Fuck.
No problem.
I'm sure I've had football. I think like high school sports, just times we were just out there in the rain, just so fucking
So cold and wet.
Yeah, that is the thing.
Yeah, but there's a certain like when you're all united in this like
Yeah,
we're
band of
doing
brothers
the,
type.
it's but then it's a different thing where you're like, oh, we're getting our ass kicked.
I know that you're
And I'm
losing, and
my
now you
feet
hate
hurt.
everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I have a follow-up question
Have
for
to
you.
pee.
As an Eagle Scout, it's very traditional. You have to do some big project at the end,
did.
right? What was your big project?
My big project was my mom is a special ed teacher and public school outside Cincinnati, and there was like a little wooded lot next to her school.
Okay.
And so I got my boys, my leaders. I flexed my leadership muscles. Let them. We carved out a path, built a big like outdoor classroom, benches, bulletin board,
Yeah.
all this stuff. I did the whole 9 yards, and they used it for approximately 1 year, and then allowed it to fall into complete and utter disrepair.
Hey.
And I believe that nature retook it. And
Yeah,
it's still maybe it's still there. There's some benches
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
But they were like, 1 year of
Some
outside
semblance
use.
of it.
It was a great idea.
It was. I did way more work than some of my buddies did. Where I'm like, you got to do a book drive. You know what I mean? I was there for weeks.
Yeah.
For weeks digging and clearing brush, and
Yeah.
it was a pain in the ass. Yeah.
I
What
like
did you do?
that.
What did you do?
I'm not an Eagle Scout, but my friend.
Never forget that. Never forget that. You didn't earn that.
When I got to the Pinewood Derby and realized you needed a dad, I was out.
Yeah, they're like, sorry.
Wait, did that feel weird that you did the left hand handshake with someone who's not an Eagle Scout?
Oh wait, was
Yeah,
that
now it
was the
feels
deal?
filthy.
I'm sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
realize.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
No, I
No,
think
it's actually was the test.
No, I
It
think
actually is why I knew.
Because who does left hand?
Because that's the shake. That is the official Boy Scout handshake is left hand shake.
Well, Chris Sullivan, friend of the show, friend of ours, I will have him. He's an Eagle Scout. He did a nice community bench. So I'll make up my handshake by forcing you guys to.
You punch him.
Seal
The
it
real,
back.
the
You'll
real,
fight
the real
Chris.
flex is this. This is the Boy Scout
What,
handshake.
like Romans?
Romans. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, you die
Interesting.
together.
Oh, you die together.
Well, I'm ready to die for any of those guys. For any of my boys in 914, shout out to my boys in Troop 914.
Shout out 914.
I'll die for any of you guys to this day.
That's so funny.
Now,
That's
do you
a comedy.
think Girl Scouts have as much fun selling cookies only as you guys do getting to learn so many camping things?
I mean,
So you guys do prepping for the show alone?
well, like Girl Scouts, there's like the brownies or whatever, where they're like little kids, Cub
Yes.
Scouts,
Yeah.
and Girl Scouts, and
Bluebirds.
cookies. Those are like more comparable, but I didn't know many Girl Scouts who went until they were like, I went until I was 17.
yeah.
And I, you know what I mean?
Well, I think it's probably because they probably get tired of selling the fucking cookies
yeah,
and
yeah.
that being the only fucking thing that it is.
right. They're like, yeah, we're
There
kinda
are
doing-
other merit badges and stuff.
I know, but what are they doing?
Right.
This was a part
You're
of
right.
one of my
They're
one of my
top- they're-
episodes
they're
of
top
physical.
tier. They're top tier is selling stuff. Your top tier is like, I built something for the community.
People
Yeah,
ask
but
me
you were like
what
learning
I remember.
tangible survival type things, and they're
Sure.
like, and sure, look,
Yeah, you
this
look through a
business
Midwestern
matters.
version of Nam, like out there, just you reenacted all the Forrest Gump scenes.
Yeah.
I learned. People ask me, like, "Do you know how to tie knots still?"
That's a badge reenacting Forrest Gump.
Reenacting Forrest Gump
Yeah.
in the world,
Yeah,
in the nation, and in your community.
Now look, you're going to get into this Alabama game for one play.
Yeah.
You have to score.
You need to score.
Otherwise
You need to
you're
run down
not-
the tunnel.
Yeah, yeah. You got to keep going. Bo Jackson it.
There was with the Cub Scout stuff. Never mind. It's gone. It was gone.
They lost.
Oh,
you?
it's gone.
It's gone.
God, that
Happens
happens to me
to us
all the
all the
time.
time.
Yeah, it happens. All of it.
You wanna close this out,
but let
Rory?
me ask you: are you good at letting it go, or does it eat you like the whole day?
I immediately remembered what it was.
Go ahead.
And it's that people ask me.
God, I hope it's
And it's
bad
back
and
home, and
worthless.
it's gone. And
I
it's
hope
gone.
it's such
And
a
it's
waste
gone.
of time.
I hope it gets
And
you
it's back,
canceled.
and it's back
I hope
gone.
it gets you canceled.
It was back, and now it's gone again.
It gets you canceled.
It might. People ask me like, do you have any like skills that you still remember? Like knots. Do you remember any knots?
Sure, yeah.
And I do remember. I remember a handful of knots, but one of the knots that I remembered, like really putting the time to learn to make it look really cool and right, was like a full-on hangman's
Yeah,
noose.
Oh,
And I could tie a fucking nice looking noose. And I remember the
Clip that.
the
Can we
dads.
clip that?
Zero
Yeah, clip
need.
that. And the dads in the troop were like,
Do not clip that.
whoa. He's like, you're teaching the little kids how to do this. I'm like, it's 13 loops.
Yeah.
To make sure that your neck breaks.
And you
You
have
do
to.
not want to strangle on this puppy. You want to jump off some high up enough where it just snaps
But
and
you
you're done.
keep trying. Look, guys, there are still horse thieves. Okay, like you
There
keep
were
trying
some-
to westernize it.
Exactly. Highwayman.
Highwayman. Oh, all right. You close us out.
yeah. Let me close this out. Grab my future tablet here. Actually, this is a pretty old one. Dan, thanks for shooting the hooch, Chattahoochee.
Let's
Yeah,
this.
Banks
Alan
and
Jackson.
Chattahoochee,
guys know that?
Is it really cold?
It can be. I mean, when they're talking about
Way down
October,
yonder on the Chattahoochee.
But that doesn't
Rainy
mean
season.
shooting the hooch don't mean like that, because that warms you up.
yeah,
Right, it's very
No, they
true.
do mean that. It's the drink hooch.
I was going to
And
say
that cools you down.
Do you
really
remember
quick.
that drink?
That's
Is
what I
that still a
Yes,
thing?
hooch green bottles.
Yeah.
Went through that. Oh god, the heartburn on that.
I did that in college, and I was like, "Oh, drinking's easy." And it was like, "Yeah, you're drinking straight sugar." And
Yeah,
I was
it's
like,
garbage
"Oh,
water.
I didn't really- I
I'm
didn't
so
realize it.
excited.
I was excited.
When you mentioned Chicago nights, I did remember that. The amount of times being drunk made walking to the L train or walking home so much warmer.
Palatable.
It really, yeah.
But really, it's you're dying quicker.
Uh-huh,
you're
100%.
feeling the warmth of the I'm dying sooner.
Yes, yeah.
Dan, thank you for this letter, and I almost said, "Good luck next time you're in Finland." Maybe that does apply. I don't know. We wish you well. Sincerely, Rory Scovel.
Daniel Van Kirk.
And Luke Null. Now I can do copyright material, right?
Yeah.
Okay.